Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Shattered Podcast. I'm your host, Jaya Williams, and joined with me are my two co-hosts, Amber Williams and Allison Park. Hi, guys. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good. As you guys know, I'm based out of Miami. It's been raining like crazy for the past 2 weeks, and it's finally starting to be sunny outside. So I'm so happy about that. What's it
Nice.
looking like in Virginia over there?
So hot.
Oh my God, it's insanely hot.
Unbelievably humid.
Really?
Yes.
It's terrible.
I wouldn't even expect Virginia to be hot and humid, but I guess I've never been over there.
Virginia is so hot all the time.
So bad.
That's funny. Here it's been breezy. We always have like the breeze from the ocean. So it's more, humid, but just rainy. Every summer it's so rainy, which sucks. But this is a very special episode 2 of our podcast. And today we're going to be talking about shattering records, the power of female Olympians, and what we can expect from some of these ladies in Team USA this year. As you guys know, the Tokyo Summer Games are coming up. They were postponed from the pandemic. It was actually 5 years since the last Olympic Games. And there's a lot of exciting stuff to take a look at. Women's track and field, gymnastics, and swimming is going to be the main things that we're covering today, going over some of those athletes and what's been going on in those worlds. So starting off with women's track and field, there's been a lot of promising young new talent for Team USA. It's so exciting just to see all of these new people entering Team USA for the first time after these Olympic trials. And it's definitely a new generation of American track and field, and it also includes a lot of women of color, which is super, super exciting. The main person that everyone's been buzzing about and just cannot stop talking about is Shikari Richardson, the 21-year-old track star from Dallas, Texas, is now the fastest woman in America after winning the 100-meter race in the U.S. Olympic trials. And she is our best American hope for the 100-meter dash. So she's attempting to bring home Team USA's first gold medal in the event in 25 years, which is crazy and super exciting. What have you guys heard about Shikari Richardson?
I've heard that she is literally amazing. I went and watched the highlights immediately after hearing about her. I love that she ran over to her grandmother as soon as she won, like family first. That's amazing. And I just love that she has such a vibrant personality, and she shows that girls can look amazing and do whatever they want and still crush it, and that there's not a dress code for success.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I really love about Shikari Richardson is just how unapologetic she is about who she is, and she really owns herself. I don't know if you guys heard, but her biological mother had passed away right before her race, and she still went and ran and killed it. And that's why that hug, that moment between her and her grandma was so special. But I really do admire her perseverance and her ability to just overcome such a difficult hurdle. Allison, what have you heard about Shikari Richardson?
I feel like I've seen her name on every single news outlet recently. I think that she's everywhere right now. And that's great because we definitely need more people to pay attention to track and field, more specifically women's track and field. And she's so young. She's basically our age, which is insane to think about, with someone so young and so much success in the sport already. Everyone is just super, super excited to watch her do what she does best. And I personally am also really excited to see what the Olympics holds for her. And like you said, I think she has a great personality. She proves that female athletes can still be great athletes without sacrificing their femininity. And I think that's a great message to send. So I'm just really excited to see how she does in this Olympics. And I hope that she will become a household name and that parents will teach their kids about her, because I think she's incredible.
I definitely think so too. And you guys have brought it up. She looks amazing. When you look good, you feel good. I love that she rocks her vibrant hair colors and hairstyles and her long nails. It really means a lot for representation in an interview, she said, people think I'm an arrogant, cocky, ruthless athlete. And honestly, I wouldn't say that they're wrong. And I love that she addressed some of those comments and said, you know what, you're right. Because I think there's so much power in just owning what people say about you and embracing that as a part of who you are, especially as a Black woman. You know, Black women are always going to be seen as arrogant or more aggressive, especially when you're the best at what you do, in her case. And I can even relate that to my experience dancing. When you have a lot of confidence, like you have to have a lot of confidence to get ahead, and you have to believe in yourself, because if you don't, then nobody else will. And there's nothing wrong with flaunting what you've got. But a lot of times, as a minority especially, I feel like our confidence can get mistaken as cockiness all the time. And I kind of love that she's just like, you know what, maybe I am a little cocky and I have a right to be cocky, and I have a right to wear my hair like this and express myself and intimidate all of my competition. So that's something that I really love. I think it sends a really great message to young girls out there. And like you guys said, I'm really excited to see what she's going to be doing next.
Another thing I did want to bring up is when I hear a rumor that a female athlete, or just a woman in general, is cocky or arrogant, I tend to take a step back and be like, take that with a grain of salt, because when women are confident, it bothers people.
Absolutely.
A female athlete is going to be perceived as cocky when maybe she's just confident in herself, whereas male athletes can get away with cocky. Male athletes, there are so many jerks out there in that world, and people don't say that they're arrogant and cocky. But when a woman shows confidence in her skills and what she does, people perceive that as cocky. It sends off red flags in people's minds. So whenever I see people call a female athlete cocky, I tend to give them the benefit of the doubt and say they're not cocky. They're just confident in what they do and they know that they're good. So that's the way I always think when I hear people say that, because I hate it when the double standard. I hate it.
Definitely. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we're literally taught to stay in a box. Society loves to place limitations on us and our abilities and what we can do. So I'm not surprised at all that people are intimidated by her greatness and by the greatness of so many women, especially in athletic spaces, since it's very male dominated in the sports world. And she brings a great threat to the sport. So obviously they're going to try and shut her down. They're going to try and call her everything in the book just to undermine her talent. And like you said, men do it all the time. So honestly, congrats to her for just being a badass. I totally agree with your point, Allison.
I also think it's amazing that, like, you know, who says that being arrogant has to be a bad thing? Like, Richardson has every right to be arrogant because she's the best. So I think the fact that she owned up to it is amazing and took a negative twist that they tried to give to her and made it into something positive.
Totally. And while we're on the topic of amazing individuals, one of the most well-rounded people that I think we've ever seen has qualified for her first Olympics. I am talking about none other than Gabby Thomas. At 24 years old, you guys, she graduated Harvard with a degree in neurobiology, and she's currently getting her master's degree in epidemiology, all while qualifying for the Olympics. Just a few days ago, she won the 200-meter finals and broke the trial's record of 21.69 seconds, which was previously set by Allison Felix in 2012. So she is just completely crushing it in all aspects of her life. I love it. I love that she's athletic and she has the brains and she has the talent to match. Have you guys heard anything about Gabby Thomas?
Yeah, I think it's amazing. I think that she's showing women that you are allowed in every space. You're allowed to be in athletics and you're allowed to be in STEM. And I love that she's like showing that you don't have to choose necessarily one passion. You can take multiple and you can crush it on all of them.
Yeah, totally. She's definitely breaking those stereotypes that we kind of imagine when we're thinking of a STEM major, a Harvard student. We might not necessarily be thinking about somebody that's also just athletic and a Black woman and all of these crazy things. So that's really cool. And just being the best at what she does, breaking that record. Allison Felix 21.69 seconds. Like in order to break that record, that's crazy to me. So congratulations to her for also qualifying for her very first Olympics.
Yeah, breaking barriers and breaking records.
That's what Shattered's all about.
Yeah.
They're literally representing what Shattered is all about, breaking that glass ceiling and showing us that the sky really is the limit.
Mhm.
On top of that, we also have Sydney McLaughlin. Obviously, we all know who this is since she was in the 2016 Olympics and blew us all away. She just set the world record for the 400-meter hurdles 2 days ago. She broke it by 0.26 seconds, making her the only woman in the world to compete the 400-meter hurdles under 52 seconds. In the world, you guys. That is insane.
That is crazy. I love to see that these women are just, like you guys said, breaking records. They are making history right now. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah, and I went back and watched the highlight, and it's such a joy to watch someone do what they're good at and completely kill it, for that matter. Like, it's so fun to watch that. And I think that a lot of people are going to be looking forward to watching her perform the Olympics as well, because it's just such a joy to have the privilege to watch an elite athlete like this just do what she does best.
Yes, definitely. And I think they're all, so young. They're all minorities. And if I was a little 12-year-old Jaya, I would just be so inspired. I remember watching the Olympics when I was a lot younger and being so amazed by all the talent. I mean, it's one of my favorite things to do every 4 years, as well as the rest of the world and the rest of this country. And if I was just like a little girl seeing all of these young women that look a lot like me and they're so talented, it would just really inspire me to want to become my best and believe that it's possible, So I really, really commend these women because I know that they're inspiring a lot of little girls out there, and that makes my heart so happy. And we do have one more track star to talk about. Allison Felix, I brought her up a little earlier. She used to have that record before it was just broken by Gabby Thomas. But she does have the 10th fastest time this year. She ran her fastest time in 4 years in the 400, and we are also looking forward to seeing her in the Olympics. But what makes her particularly special and unique is what happened when she used her voice off the track. So, for those of you that may not remember what happened with Allison Felix, she had a huge brand deal with Nike back in 2019, and there was a very public breakup that she had with the brand. She spoke up over their treatment of pregnant athletes. It just didn't align with her beliefs, and she believed that there was a lot of mistreatment going on within the company. So she spoke up. She said she didn't support it and her colleagues didn't support it, and she wanted that maternity policy changed. And her speaking up about it, while it did create a huge rift with the company, she lost her brand deal. Other companies were not willing to work with her for a certain point of time. Other people that also had issues with this maternity policy did speak up, and she kind of encouraged those voices to be used, even though it kind of was bad press for her. So now, 2 years later, by doing what she did, Nike did finally change their maternity policies. And, she's 35 years old, still an amazing sprinter. Now she started her own lifestyle brand called By Stage, and she's releasing her first shoe called the Stage 1 shoe that's also going to be sold with Athleta. And her mission for this, she was encouraged to create this company as a result of that sponsorship battle, as a result of everything that happens. And she said that she believes the women's footwear market doesn't meet the physical needs of its customers. And she made sure that this shoe was designed for any woman that feels they have been overlooked or feel that their voice has not been heard. So that was Felix's mission in creating this shoe and creating this line. And I really, really admire her for doing what she did with this, what that means, the weight that it holds, because I'm sure at the time back in 2019, it's scary to speak up, especially as a woman, because you're never believed. And then as a pregnant woman, I can't imagine just how difficult that time must have been. And then for her to not be able to get other deals and going up against a brand as huge as Nike, she was taking a really big risk there, but she knew that she had to stay true to who she was and her beliefs. And it just didn't sit right with her. And I really respect that, because the easier route would have been to just put up with something that she wasn't okay with and just be like, well, you know what? I'm lucky to just have a deal with Nike, and it is what it is. And, it takes a lot to do something like that and to stay true to herself. That integrity is really admirable to me. So I wanted to know if you guys have heard about this story and what you think about it.
Yeah, so I think we all know that in the United States, at least, when it comes to maternity leave and working in the workplace, for women, that is a huge struggle. There's not always the best accommodations, and women are made to feel as if they have to choose either being a mother or being a woman at work. And I think the fact that she stood up, not just for herself, but she's proving to her future child that it's important to fight for what you believe in, and she's helping all these other women who might have been too scared or not in a place that they were able to speak up. And the fact that afterwards she took that and then made her own company, that's incredible. That's amazing.
Yeah, I would agree. This is something that's always bothered me about the sports world, is that when a lot of athletes become mothers, people tend to view them differently. They tend to think that their expectations have changed or that their performance will go down, when in reality, it's the exact opposite. We've seen the rise of so many mothers who are athletes in the past couple of years. Alex Morgan, Sydney Leroux, all those people, Allison Felix, obviously, and Shelly Ann Fraser-Price as well, who is also in track and field, who are proving to the sports world that you can be an amazing mother and an amazing athlete. There's no need to choose one or the other. And I think that Allison Felix starting this new brand as a result of that conflict with Nike is just the ultimate power move. I think it's amazing, and I'm so excited to support her. But I also wanted to talk about I like how she's partnering with Athleta too. Athleta is a sportswear company that focuses on female athletes. I know Simone Biles recently signed a brand deal with them as well, and we're starting to see a lot of female athletes start to come away from major brand deals with big companies like Nike and start to go for other deals with female athlete-oriented brands like Athleta. So I'm really excited that she's going to be partnering with Athleta, because I think Athleta is amazing. They really focus on all different kinds of female athletes, professional, not professional. They really are for everyone. So I'm excited that she's starting her own company and she's partnering with Athleta. It's very inspiring to me that she stood up for what she believed in and is now creating something that she didn't have during that very difficult time for her.
Yeah, definitely. It's like, if something that you want doesn't exist, then why not create it? And her launching this brand, like you said, is the ultimate power move. I think just staying true to your beliefs and your integrity, even if it means losing out on something that at the time might feel like the end of the world, you never know what the outcome can be later on if you stick true to that. And I have an example of that story in my own personal life when I was a freshman at LSU. And I remember, so in high school, I was a competitive prom dancer. I loved the dance team, and I knew that I wanted to dance in college. I just knew that I wanted to dance in college, and nobody could tell me anything otherwise. But I did not get in to the University of Miami. I didn't get accepted, which is the school that I go to now. So my second choice, I was pretty upset about not getting in. I was defeated about it for a while, but I was like, you know what? It's fine. I'm going to go to LSU. That's still a great school. I'm still so excited, and I'm going to try out for their dance team. And their dance team was very different from the dance team at Miami that I was originally intending to audition for. This team was very Southern, very old school. They had that old school leotard. They had that old school hairstyle, the stick straight hair with the big bump on top. And, it was just a very different team. And I have very big, very curly hair. It's just a mixture of my ethnicity, my background. And I knew that if I were to dance on that team, I would have to straighten my hair a lot to match the style of that team and just that style. And that's how they look on game day. And I knew that I just wouldn't be happy if I were to have to do that, because my hair, just like Shikari Richardson, my hair is a big part of my personality. It's a big way that I express myself. And I love my curls, and I love that it makes me unique and it makes me different. So I didn't dance my freshman year. I was like, I just don't think I'm going to be happy. And that was me just staying true to myself and staying true to what I really believed in. And I was sad. I was like, well, now I'm just not a dancer. I'm just a regular college student and I don't know what to do. But later on, I think it was the end of the first semester, freshman year. I had taken a trip to Miami for winter break, and on the ride back, I was sat next to the coach of the dance team that I was currently trying out for Miami. So she was in the middle seat and I was in the aisle. And we had kind of briefly known each other because back when I thought I was going to school there, we had connected, but I hadn't talked to her ever since I didn't get into the university. So I'm literally just putting my bag up in the overhead cabin, and I see her in the middle seat, and I'm like, Natalie? And she's like, Jaya? And so we had 2.5 hours to talk, and she was like, how are you doing? What's been going on with you? And I'm like, honestly, I'm really not doing too good right now. I'm doing all right at LSU, but I'm not dancing and I'm really unhappy. And she was like, you know what? I think it's a sign. I think it's fate that we ran into each other on this plane. You should come back. You should tour the university again and put in a transfer application, see if you get in. And, we would love to have you on the team. So that's kind of my story. Then I went home that night and I remember being like, maybe it's not over for me. Maybe I can try something else. And on that dance team, they loved my hair. I mean, she would kill me if I wanted to straighten it like one time for a photo shoot or something. And I feel like that was me being true to myself, because had I just made the team at LSU, and I mean, that's an amazing team for sure, but had I just went through with that and straighten my hair every day, like maybe I would have had a good time on that team, but I never would have even thought about going to Miami and going to a different team that fits my personality and who I am a lot better. And I think that was a lesson that I learned that was in 2019 as well, is just stay true to what you believe in, stay true to who you are. And even if at the time it seems like it's the end of the world, there's always going to be light at the end of the tunnel. And I feel like that's the same thing that happened here with Felix. So I really identify with her in that sense, even though my story is on a much smaller scale than her story.
Yeah, I think it's like you cannot sacrifice who you are for anyone or anything. And even though it was something like you said you love dancing, but you're not going to love it if you can't express yourself. I mean, that's the whole point of being a dancer, is to like do your thing.
Yeah, definitely. So that's my little story just about integrity and the importance of integrity. And I'm really, really, really excited to watch all of these amazing track stars do their thing, represent Team USA. I know they're going to kill it come July 23rd. But track is just one thing. While these women are doing amazing, they are not the only ones. Gymnastics has also been going crazy these days. And I know, Amber, you've been following gymnastics really closely. So can you tell us about some of those stars?
Yes, the gymnastics women are crushing it. The Olympic team has officially been set, and of course, Simone Biles is the face of it. And that, I mean, she 100% deserves it. She's the reigning world champion and she's a gold medalist. She just won her 7th national title on June 20th at the U.S. Gymnastics Championship in Texas, and she is now tied for the most overall championships by a U.S. gymnast. She is going to 100% rocket at the Olympics, and I know that she is just one of many amazing women that have made this team. Suni Lee finished second at the Olympic trials, and she automatically qualified just like Simone Biles, and she is heading to the Olympics for her first time. And she is the first Hmong American to make a U.S. Olympic team. She is amazing at the uneven bars, which is where she got her best score at the trials, which is no surprise. We all expected her to do that. And she won silver in the floor exercises and bronze on uneven bars. So I think for when it comes down to it, she's going to be the one that's definitely going to rack up our points on the uneven bars. She's already proved she's like amazing at it. She's 100% the one that owns that on this team. The third one to be registered for the team is Jordan Childs, and she is Biles' very good friend, and this is also her first Olympics. I thought this was really cool because I did not know this, and when I was like researching it, I found out that she's actually named after Michael Jordan. I was like, wow. I mean, if you're named after Michael Jordan, I feel like you have to live up to that expectation.
Well, clearly she is. She is starting to prove herself, and this is a great opportunity for her to be GOAT number 2.
Oh, I know. I think she definitely can be. She's crushing it. She performed amazing at the trials, especially on vault and in floors. And she actually has won plenty of championships herself. She won gold at the Pacific Rim Championship in the team competition. And she won in vault and balance beam. So I think she's going to be like very well-rounded for this team. She can do multiple different things, not just one set of stuff. And then the one who made the final spot on the team, because they could only have 4 this year. It used to be 5, but this year they have gone down to 4. And was Grace McCullum. She is amazing at the vault, and she has plenty of experience. She is a 2-time gold medalist at the World Championships. She's earned 5 gold medals at the Pacific Rim and the Pan American Championships in 2018. Now, that's like the main team. Now, for me, I think they're going to crush it. I think they're going to do amazing. I think the U.S. is in great hands. What do you guys think?
I mean, like you said, I think this is a really, really well-rounded team. You got Simone Biles in there, who obviously is the greatest of all time when it comes to gymnastics.
Yes.
She can do anything. We all know that she can do anything. And they did throw in there a few athletes who have more of a specialized skill. Maybe not, they're not as great as other stuff, but like you said, Suni Lee, who is incredible at the uneven bars, I think that they did a good job of creating a really well-rounded team, a team who can together join forces, can do basically anything. So I am so excited. Women's gymnastics has always been such a fun thing to watch for me, and it'll be different with a whole new team. You know, you don't have people like Allie Raisman or Gabby Douglas on this team anymore, so it's a completely different set of people, but I'm really excited to see how they do, and I definitely think they're going to do very, very well in this Olympics.
Yeah, I totally agree. Gymnastics is always the most fun to watch. I feel like everybody can agree on that. I feel like it's not really like, it's just so much fun to watch because every routine is so different. They always look so sparkly. Watching them on the bars, like there's just every part of gymnastics is just sick, and it is really cool just to see a new generation. I feel like we're getting that on a lot of different teams and across a lot of different sports, even in the NBA playoffs. You know, like there's just a big new generation of athletes totally killing it right now and making a name for themselves. So I think it's really cool to be a part of that history and watch that play out.
Yeah, it's incredibly exciting. Now, this was only the 4 main team. Every country was allowed to have 2 extra people representing them. Now, their scores will not count for the team competition, but they can compete individually for the United States. So the U.S. Gymnastics chose Jade Carey to compete individually. Now, she is a world medalist in vault and floor, so she's going to mainly affect scoring in those categories. She actually finished 16th at trials, so she wasn't exactly in the top tier of performance there. But how she performed at the Apparatus World Cup series in the last years has been what secured it. She absolutely did amazing. And the only reason that she finished low during the actual championships was because she was not able to compete every day in all of the events. If she had been, her total would have been higher, and she definitely probably would have been in the top 5. And the other one is Michaela Skinner. She was an alternate actually for the 2016 team, and she finished fifth at the trials. So we know she's amazing. She has great stuff for this team. Her vaulting numbers were actually better than McCollum, but McCollum was better on floor and bars, which is why she was able to make the official team. Skinner is a veteran with 3 gold medals in 2014, 2015, and 2019 at the World Championships. She also won gold at the NCAA Championships in 2017 for floor and 2018 for vault when she represented Utah. I think that the U.S. is in great hands with this incredible team of women led by Simone Biles. I think the United States is going to be absolutely amazing and dazzle the world with these amazing women's talents in gymnastics. And now swimming, they are just doing great as well. I'm going to let you go ahead and take it away there.
So some crazy things happened in the world of women's swimming this week. Well, not this week, but through the Olympic trials. But one big thing I wanted to talk about was Simone Manuel, and she has gone through a roller coaster. This year's been crazy for her. For those of you who didn't know, she made history in 2016 in Rio when she became the first Black female swimmer to win a gold medal in an individual race. And that's still crazy to me that 2016 was the first year that happened. But moving past that, during the Olympic trials in Omaha, she qualified for the Olympic team by winning her 50-meter freestyle event. And this was very monumental because earlier that week, she failed to qualify for the 100-meter freestyle event, which is the event she won gold for in Rio. After that race, in a press conference, she opened up about her struggles with overtraining syndrome and said that she even needed to take a 3-week hiatus from swimming completely only a couple weeks before the Olympic trials, and she was unsure if she would even be able to compete in the trials. But here she is. She's going to Tokyo. And that was just a really emotional moment for her. I'm not sure if any of you guys watched her 50-meter freestyle race, but yes. I think you could see the relief and the complete joy on her face. And I think it was just a really beautiful moment. And she really showed the sports world that you can overcome anything, even if it's this tiring disease. If you've been training too hard, your body shuts down. You can still do what you want to do. And I think that was just a really powerful, really inspiring story from this week that really struck home for me personally. But what did you guys think about this huge upset for Simone Manuel?
I loved watching that, just seeing that victory for her and how happy she was. That was incredible. I think knowing what she went through was really crazy too. If you could talk a little bit more about what overtraining syndrome is for those who might not know, I think that'll give some light on what she's been through.
Yeah, so overtraining syndrome is something that a lot of athletes suffer from. But for Manuel specifically, she said she started suffering from very intense symptoms like bodily shutdown, depression, anxiety, irritability, loss of appetite, and insomnia. So her body was she was pushing herself way too hard. And at a certain point, your body just needs to take a break. And her body shut down. She was unable to even get in a pool for 3 entire weeks. She didn't swim at 1 lap, I think, throughout 3 weeks in April, which was very close to the Olympic trials. So that was very discouraging for her, and it's something that's really hard to come back from, especially if you need to take a hiatus like that. So it's crazy that she was able to overcome that and qualify for the Olympics. So it's just a crazy journey.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when you're in a space where you're that weak, sometimes it can just feel like there's no hope. So being able to come out of that, I think, is not only admirable, but just shows how strong she really is. And coming out of it even stronger and still showing everyone that she is an Olympian level athlete and is ready to get back in the pool, that's just amazing to me as well. I can only imagine just the difficulties mentally, physically going through overtraining syndrome. It's not something that's really talked about a lot. So yeah, that's incredible. And I'm really looking forward to seeing Simone kill it, as I know she probably will, for Team USA this year.
That's just one thing that happened in the women's swimming world this week. There's one more that's pretty big and pretty exciting. So the 2021 Tokyo Olympics will be the first in history to offer the 1,500-meter freestyle for women, which is crazy and exciting. And I don't know why it happened this late, but The 1500-meter freestyle has been
Better late than never.
yeah,
That's true.
it's been a men's Olympic event since 1905, which is crazy to think about. And up until now, the longest race that has been offered for women has been the 800-meter. So this is a huge step forward in gender equality in swimming, and I would really like to hear your guys' thoughts about it.
I think the reason it has taken so long is the same reason that women face oppression and everything, is that men don't think they're able to handle stuff. And I think they were like, oh, women's bodies aren't capable of handling that. But it's ridiculous that it's taken this long. I'm glad they're finally realizing that women are just as strong, if not stronger, than men.
Yeah, totally. I mean, being underestimated is nothing new. We've talked about this. We can keep talking about it until it stops happening. And I'm just glad that, yes, this is very long overdue, but hey, it's finally here, and it's one step closer to that gender equality in the swimming world. So that's awesome, and I think it's going to be really fun for fans around the world to watch. And I can't wait for them to prove everybody wrong and be like, look, we could have done this the whole time, you guys. There's no reason that we shouldn't have had this event the whole time, but just because you made us wait this long to have it, I think they're going to bring it, and they're really going to show everyone just how stupid it was that they didn't have this the whole time. So awesome. I'm so excited for them.
Yes. So Katie Ledecky actually made history as the first American woman to qualify for the 1500-meter free for the Olympics. And this is an event that she thrives in. Like, that woman thrives on long distance swimming. And I don't understand it. As a former swimmer myself, 1500 meters is a mile swim. It's a mile swim race in the Olympics. And she's going to absolutely crush it. And I'm really excited to watch her do that. But this event also brought up some other issues when it comes to gender equality in swimming. So scheduling for all these races came out after this race. And in Tokyo, for some reason, the women have to swim the 200-meter freestyle and the 1500-meter in the same night, while the men get to swim their shortest event, the 50-meter freestyle, in preparation for the 1500-meter. So this raises more questions and criticisms about gender equality in swimming, because 200-meter is no cakewalk either. They're both really difficult races, and I think the fact that the women have to swim both in the same night and the men do not just further proves there's more work to do. I mean, what are your guys' thoughts on this?
Yeah, I'm just a little confused as to why both could not get a night of rest. That makes absolutely no sense to me at all.
I see this as almost like a little bit of mocking, kind of like the people being like, all right, well, you wanted it. Go prove that you can actually do this. And of course, they're going to make it harder because they want to be like, oh, see, we told you couldn't do that. It's going to be too hard for you. And I think that really highlights the disparities female athletes face in comparison to men.
Yeah. When I read that, I definitely was very confused and angered, because that's really, really, really rough on your body. Like, you're going to be exhausted. And the fact that the men get to swim their 50-meter and then take a break till their 1500-meter really doesn't sit right with me. And it makes me wonder who was in charge of that decision, who they consulted, and that this really was kind of a subtle put me down to the female swimmers who are going to be swimming both these events. I know Ledecky is going to be swimming both of those events, and I'm sure she'll kill it, but it's still going to be a very difficult night for all those female swimmers out there. And my heart really goes out to them, because that really stinks to get something as monumental as a 1500-meter freestyle and then be forced to swim that and the 200-meter on the same night. That's going to be really rough for them, but we can still celebrate and be happy that we get the 1500 finally. I'm sure that's going to be amazing for them. But also, it's a little bit bittersweet, because it makes you think about all those amazing female swimmers who didn't get a chance to compete in the 1500-meter just because it was not offered for women in their time. So my heart goes out to them. But there's one more person I would like to talk about in the swimming world. So Tori Husky, an 18-year-old from Arlington, Virginia, just set an American record for the 100-meter butterfly, which is crazy. She qualified for the Olympics. She's 18 years old. She's set to swim with Stanford next year. And she actually, In the first heat of that event, she killed it. She won. And in the finals of that event, a couple days later, she broke her own record. Absolutely crazy. She's one of only 2 American female swimmers to break 56 seconds in the 100 butterfly. So she's absolutely killing it. It brings it back to that new generation of athletes that we're seeing. All these young people stepping up and kind of taking things into their own hands and being like, it's our time to shine now. So I think watching that was really exciting for me, especially because I have a couple mutual friends with her. So it's interesting it's cool to watch someone that you have connections to succeed so well at such a high level. So I'm excited for her. I'm also really excited to see the Asian American representation in the sports world because you don't see that very often. Like even with the gymnast who made the Olympic team this year, who is a Hmong American, it's something that I haven't really seen until recently, is Asian American representation in sports. So for me, it was really personal and really exciting, especially as someone who used to swim. So I'm just super, super excited. I think she's going to do amazing, and I can't wait to see what her career has in store for her. But yeah, what do you guys think about this?
18. That's crazy. I know, like, they're so young competing in the Olympics. Like, that's younger than what I am right now. And the fact that they're taking on this and shattering all of these records, it's amazing.
Absolutely. And like you said, Asian American representation is so important, just as important as, seeing a bunch of Black representation, Black women, Asian American women. And, you're Asian, I'm South Asian. So I think it is really important because a lot of the times we're more recognized for our academic achievements. And I think it's really cool just on such a big platform to show that we can be athletes too, you guys. We can have it all. So I'm just really excited. I'm really excited to see all of it. Like you guys said, it's not perfect. Are women finally equal? Do we finally have everything that men have? No, but I do think this is a great step in the right direction. I think these women are going to continue to impress us, and it's going to be a great Olympics overall. So, any final thoughts? Any final thoughts on these Olympics, you guys?
Like you said, I think it's having the representation is so important. I'm just sitting there imagining like all the little girls who are actually seeing themselves represented on the screen, and it makes me so happy. Like, we're going to have this new generation is inspiring the next one. And yeah, it's not perfect, but maybe when these girls get there, they're going to be even breaking more records and making more equality happen, and I think that's amazing.
Yeah, I think that it's important to celebrate any progress that we have. Like, yes, there are still problems and we need to work on those problems, but it's okay to sit back and just celebrate the progress that we've made so far and celebrate the changes that are happening right now. And I think that this Olympics is going to be awesome. It's going to be great for, representation for minorities and for women and for mothers and for every single type of female athlete out there. I think it's amazing. And there's so many in every sport that I feel like we need to keep our eyes on, that I feel like are going to absolutely crush it in Tokyo. So I'm just really excited to watch all these women and our male USA counterparts as well. I'm excited to watch all of our athletes absolutely kill it in the Olympics this year, especially coming off the heels of a global pandemic. I think it's going to be a great morale boost for those of us who are still kind of, in lockdown or in quarantine. So I'm very excited for the Olympics, as I always am, and I'm so ready to watch these women crush it.
Definitely. As the world's going back to normalcy, we're finally having things to get excited about. And this is really what Shattered is all about, you guys. Shattering records. All of this history that's being made, all of these young women that are proving themselves and breaking these times and setting new records really represents what Shattered means to us and what it's all about. Breaking those glass ceilings, raising the bar to an even higher level than what was previously imagined. I think these ladies are really proving that the sky's the limit. And even if you aren't an athlete, I think that's something really valuable to take away from these women. So, like you all said, we're really looking forward to these Tokyo Summer Games. Definitely hope you guys are going to tune in July 23rd. Coming up really soon here. I think we're going to be really impressed with Team USA But with all of that being said, that is all we have for you for episode 2 of Shattered. Be sure to come back next Thursday. We make a new episode every single Thursday. And next week, we're going to be talking some men's sports. So, as much as I love the ladies, as much as we all love the ladies, like we said in the first episode, this is not just a female podcast. This is a podcast for all people from a female perspective. So, very excited to talk about the men next week. Before you go, make sure to subscribe to the Sports 2.0 network and give our podcast a follow. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.